I'm just wondering, did it record? Oh, it didn't record.
No. I heard a beat.
Yeah. At the beginning there was a beat.
I heard.
It's okay, I got
Anisha. Yeah, it's okay.
Welcome to Perceptional Imprints and yet another episode. And this beautiful episode covers an experience about Vipassana. A lot of people have been asking about how and what is it about. So I have two people here. One is pretty much experienced. He has done 5 times. And I have Simone also. Simone has done the first time. And Yosef, I'll let you start about what you basically do and what was your experience.
So what do I do here in Montreal?
Yeah.
I graduated actually finance. I trade on the side and I'm very passionate about jewelry as well. Nice. So I do that, and I also, in terms of, what kind of itches my heart is videos and music as well. Videos in regards to exactly what we're talking about, and then music in regards to what we're talking about as well.
Nice. And how did you come across Vipassana and
Interesting. So I was doing yoga on Monkland and on Monkland, and I forget, on Girard.
Okay.
And I was at the park, and they were renovating the studio, so they had a studio outdoors. Mm-hmm. And I overheard this guy. I was 21 at this time, and I was in a place where I needed some peace and quiet in my mind. Mm-hmm. And I overheard this guy talking to someone saying there's 10 days of silent meditation, 10 hours a day. I'm like, what? And I asked him about it, and he told me. I searched it up and signed myself up.
Nice.
Yeah, I was 21 at the time, so it was a good 8 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
And Simone, again, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Pleasure to be here. And so in terms of what I do, I'm a professor of mathematics here at Concordia. It's the very building, so it's my day off. And I'm still in the same building.
Same building, yeah.
But it's a pleasure.
Something that you love.
Yeah,
it keeps calling you back.
yeah. There's no way out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I do, and I've been here in Montreal since 2019. Although I came to Canada a bit before in 2016, still for my job. Mm-hmm. At the time was a scientist, like postdoctoral fellow, doing science in Vancouver.
Okay.
And so that's my first Vipassana retreat that just ended last Sunday. However, it was not my first experience with meditation. So
okay.
I did have few years where I did some meditation in the so-called Plum Village tradition. It's a tradition by a Vietnamese monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. It's more kind of close to Zen Buddhism.
Okay. Zen Buddhism.
And I practiced that kind of meditation essentially from, I think, 2014 to 2017, more or less. Okay. And then I stopped meditating for a while, and I really wanted to go back, and I wanted a boost. So when I heard, let's do this retreat.
How did you hear about it?
A friend of my wife, actually. I knew she participated,
okay.
And she told us about the retreat.
Through word of mouth.
Word of mouth, and also a podcast. And it's funny, like a comedian in Italy.
Okay.
He attended the Vipassana retreat and he had a really positive experience.
Nice.
Maybe cool. He's a really popular comedian.
Comedian not talking for 10 days.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So but the main motivation was really I wanted to go back to meditation for real, and I needed like a bit of a push.
Okay. And my question would be I would be interested to know more about the experience, because as a normal person who have never tried it, what sort of expectations, or at least I'm a person who do not want to have an expectation, but someone who's actually wanting to go there. What sort of, or what are they actually looking for? When you have been there, or once you've started, or you were determined that, okay, even though it's strict 9 days, no talking, and then the 10 days reintegration, you still decided to go, and that to 5 times. Yeah. So what made you, or what was the driving motivation?
For sure. It's definitely a different experience each time. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like reading a book over and over again. The second time you're reading it, you're like, I missed that. And you start kind of putting the things together. The third time, fourth time. But essentially I went in because of just my noisy and chaotic mind. I understood in my early 20s that it wasn't complicated. It was very simple. If you want success in life, you simply have to focus. You simply have to be in the moment. I remember back in the day, people would talk to me and I would look at them, but my mind was completely elsewhere. And then when they would ask me a question, I'd be like, I can't answer because I wasn't here. But if there was a camera, it would seem like it's the same thing as opposed to if I was actually present. But inside, you're completely in a different world. So I found myself having trouble controlling that, sleeping, and hanging out with friends, going out in public. And I said, okay, I see my potential. I either allow myself to decay and, not refine that focus and concentration, or I actually have to put in the work. And so I started meditation, I got into it, and I understood that it's simply a muscle that you need to work on so that you can do it. So when I heard 10 days, I was like, wow, what a beautiful opportunity that I can't find elsewhere where I can just, kind of come to the training ground and it's like intense work. I personally, that's, I'd rather be slapped in the face left and right and put to the test. So that's why I went into it initially.
And one question before I jump on to Simone is like,
Sure.
How did it impacted your life in a regular day-to-day life? Even though you have learned meditation, how is reintegration? How does it look for you?
Absolutely, definitely different each time. Different each time for sure. We could definitely talk about the experiences later on in this podcast, but I find the main thing it's helped me on a practical basis coming back to society is, as Simone mentioned before, it's less reaction. It's creating that space between a stimulus and yourself. Back in the day, I remember things would happen and I would just react or vomit. And it was, I heard someone say, respond rather than react. And so before I got into meditation, I was always reacting. Not that I'm perfect now, but there's more awareness that, okay, instead of this individual who's yelling at me or shooting negative energy at me, instead of responding, like Owenka said, fire with fire, I can create space with the practice of meditation and Vipassana and respond in the proper way. That's how I see it has really impacted and influenced my life.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
And Simone, since you already mentioned what brought you here, because you were already looking for a change after you've practiced Zen and everything. So how did that work out for you? Like, even as I asked him the same question, 9 days serious and dedicated meditation, no talking. Like, what was your first initial thought?
Right, so like during the experience, or
like even before, like what
yeah, I didn't even know that there were 9. I was thinking genuinely 10 days. Actually, it was good news. Like, oh, 9 days. And we were there. Okay, guys, minutes of silence.
Because each day is like 20 days. You're like, oh, okay, fine.
So, I mean, I was so before starting the experience, I was looking for sure, like something, much quieter than usual day-to-day life with craziness, urgent stuff that comes up, crazy thing. So like this was really attractive to be like kind of without
isolated.
Without all this background noise all over all over your life. That was very attractive to me. Also this opportunity to go deeper. Like, okay, there's going to be 10 days. I'm not exactly sure how the retreat is going to work, but like pretty sure we're going to go deeper inside ourselves. Not constantly distracted by outside things, and that was really attractive. So kind of this opportunity to go inwards, having all the time to do that, and all the attention to do that without stimuli, constant stimuli.
Did you get a chance to go deeper?
Yeah, definitely. And in fact, you okay, by the way, we should say that you also attended it. I didn't say
it's not just interviews.
It's not like he knows.
I did too,
This is his 40 seconds.
I wish. No, but yeah, I did attend, but my main idea is, I had this experience and probably I'll share it, but I wanted to know how others felt. Like,
Yeah.
I felt you guys also had the same question, especially being first timers. Like, okay, is this the same feeling I'm having, or the other person is also feeling the
No,
same?
I just wanted to, because I'm going to say we. This is going to not be weird for the people because you were there too. So we were all in the same retreat.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, there was a big opportunity to go deeper, and like I noticed the big shift from the 9th to especially the 10th day when the noble silence ended.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like I forgot to talk, to be honest.
Yeah, the first was like, okay, how is this work? Right? It's really weird. But also, you know, the memory of myself during these 9 days felt almost like a different self after we started speaking again. For me, this was the experience. I felt like kind of these 9 days where we cultivated a lot of concentration, a lot of focus, and like on the technique, almost felt like being on another plane of reality in a way. And then start talking again, you know, it was great because we were sharing conversations and like sharing what we felt, you know, starting friendship like that, and also seeing what others experience, which is great. But also like then trying to remember, like just 2 days ago, we were totally different, like being almost underwater. I have this perception that we were all underwater for 9 days.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, how do you guys feel about, you know, I'll also talk about the experience once we ended the silence. I'll talk about the experience because, you know, I was standing, I came out, like I came 10 minutes after. I was the only person in the hall, and then I came back. And I was just standing and I see everyone, like everyone talking. And I don't know how do I go and how do I approach and what to do at that point. And then the manager came to me and like, are you feeling okay? Like, yeah. And then he's like, you know, he started a conversation. So he wanted to start because he thought probably, you know, I'll not talk. And I still want to continue my noble silence until I go back.
Interesting.
So he's like, you know, it's good to reintegrate. It's good to talk because you don't want to go back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And, you know, be in that zone of not talking and then, you know, trying to avoid conversation. So he's the one who probably with his experience, he's been doing since like 20 years. So he came to me and like, you know, how is this looking? And he started a conversation. So now
I found that so essential because I really, in a way, like I realized I did not know how to talk. I was just vomiting all this stuff and like the cues of like knowing when someone like I forgot. So I definitely found that useful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I also wanted to touch base on is like for those, as soon as the meditation started or the silence started, everyone were a different person. Even though you knew friends, I mean, we went together, but we were like looking down, not even looking at each other, no eye contact, nothing. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's true. There were that also was a pretty sharp transition. There was two, like from silence
all of a sudden,
from noise to silence, and from silence to noise. They were both pretty big transitions. And no, I mean it was fine. Like because we had this orientation at the beginning, and then having this light dinner with people talking. There was a lot of talking, right? And then like this feeling, okay, not noble silence is gonna come soon, and like we are gonna start for real. And no, but like knowing that everyone was on the same, we were all there for this, so it's not like you're being not polite. So I was not feeling weird about that too much. But a little bit like of guilt not to at the very beginning, but like a little bit of weirdness. But then you think, okay, everyone is here for this purpose.
Everyone is here. I mean, but there were so many. I mean, there was also good in not speaking, in the sense of you're still doing actions. Like there was still care. So you're not talking, but you're holding the door.
Absolutely.
You're like letting people go. Yeah, I mean, there's no communication, no eye contact, but still your gestures, the way you're actually showing it. It also was so beautiful.
I
far
find
different. Yeah,
for sure. Like I find, especially in my experiences, that when you actually don't talk, there's a deeper level of connection. Like I think my first time, I'll never forget this. I was rooming with these two people. Never met them before. One of them actually went to Concordia. Never met them. I didn't have even a chance to speak to them before, when you have that day. On day 10, when I tell you we hugged each other, we're talking, because I remember we had a long table, and I don't know, it was my first time, and we were all kind of rebellious in that sense, and we kind of communicated. He saw me eating an orange in my room, and I saw him wanting it, and I just rolled it to him. He's like, oh, day 3, but it was just, even beyond that, I was like, oh, I saw you on day 4 pacing back. Someone came up to me, he was like, oh, on day 5, you cracked a smile, and that really lighted up my day, and I was just like, wow, I've never met these guys before, but I feel like I've known them for my whole entire life.
I was telling Simone and Atik also, same thing, that, even though we're not talking, but we're trying to, there was certain amount of care for each other.
So much, even more.
Okay, this person is not on the table. Is he okay? I don't see him. Maybe
people start.
He's late.
Not showing up.
Sometimes they're not showing. Is he good? Is he okay? Did he quit? Something happened. Something. I wish something not wrong is has not come.
Crazy you say that, because on day 7 there was this guy that I was, from the beginning, I don't know why, I was rooting for. I was like, oh, I feel like that's someone I would hang out with. And on day 6 at
you
night,
don't see that person.
No, so I saw him crying at 9:30, and there was a course manager with him. And in my head, I'm like, oh, come on. I was really praying for him. Like, please stay. You got this 3 more days. I saw him the next morning at breakfast, and I was so excited. Yeah. Last time I saw him, he left. Yeah,
he left. Yeah,
he left. So I think the teacher said, "Listen, stay over the night. See how you feel in the morning. If you want to leave, leave."
Yeah.
And he left. I was like, So that, I never met him before, but the care, I was actually
the care.
distraught. I was like,
it's the emotions are much stronger. The feeling of care, love, it's much more stronger. Even though probably you're not a caring person, or again, people might be wondering, oh, what's happening there? No, it might be just a regular thing, a regular meditation, but just because you're disconnected from the outer world, this is your world now. So you feel that these people are more important to you at this particular point, and you just wish that everyone is okay. Absolutely. Everyone is doing well. So
you know how much pain and challenge is going on within. That everyone else is experiencing that in their own
Another, I think, place where there was a lot of communication, non-verbal communication going on was the meditation hall. I remember, because I that's a bit crazy. I came by car with you and Atik, and we ended up being
in the same line,
close, 1, 2, 3, the same,
so fun.
Kind of crazy coincidence. And so kind of had the two of you as kind of companions of the journey.
I felt that too.
And also wondering how are they doing, what maybe now a different aspect of the technique is introduced, a different challenge. Oh, is that easy for them? Is that hard? And you still communicate, you still hear maybe someone breathing, someone moving, someone laughing, someone digesting.
They're more acute to those subtle nuances, where obviously, since there's no speaking, if for example he was breathing heavily, something's off, or if he was moving a lot, he's. I found that same thing too. The 2 people that were near me were anchors to my meditation. Sometimes I wanted to leave, and they were there, okay, I gotta stay.
And
it happened to me as well.
I have to undisclose something that will not sound as nice as what we're saying now, but for me, I think I had a pretty big day. I think in 4 or 5, I remember now. But when I felt this competition, I'm pretty competitive in real life, and I was feeling we're not supposed to move. So that competition was a pretty big deal at the beginning for me.
Do you want to mention what an Ashtana is?
Ashtana. So eventually, in day 4, right?
They started day 4.
Day 4, you start, because we have 3 1-hour-long meditations per day, and these 3 1-hour-long meditations now are supposed to be Ashtana, strong determination.
Strong determination, where you don't move, or at least if you're new to this, like I am. You can try to move a little, but your main focus is not to move.
Yeah, like you said, you can actually reposition, because someone asked him, what does it mean not to move?
Yeah.
He said 3 things. It's not moving your legs, not moving your arms, and not opening your eyes.
Yeah, it's not opening legs, arms.
Yeah, if you're like this by mistake, you don't stay like this. Reposition yourself.
But if you're like this, that you don't do like this. You keep.
That's where I had those experiences where I had to actually do this, and the next day I went to the teacher and can I do this? Because
You
my
didn't
body.
do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really? It was you?
Yes, because I said I'm not moving my hands, I'm not opening my eyes, I'm not moving my legs. I'm in the position, but due to gravity, my body goes fast.
Absolutely.
And I have to pick it up again because I cannot be like this. So she said, this is acceptable. So just do it.
Yeah, so I mean, it was when that started, it was very challenging for everyone.
Mm.
It's always it was a big step in the technique, the strong determination.
Yes,
So at the beginning, for me, it was really like, oh, how are others doing? Like, oh, but then when you stop meditating, you open your eyes and like you see that certain people are super, like still, like stones, and then you think, oh, that guy is like doing it perfectly. So maybe I'm not doing well enough. Or, oh, someone moved. Like, okay, Abby moved. Oh, so I'm better than Abby. So I started comparing myself.
Yeah.
And I had to share, because that was creating a lot of background noise in my thoughts. And I had to share that with the teacher. And like, it was a bit embarrassing too. Like, I started comparing myself. Like, the teacher, like, no, just don't compare. There's no meaning. Like,
he was so good.
And don't think too.
Exactly. I'm even glad you asked, because a lot of people, out of embarrassment, are like, okay, I shouldn't be asking that. How would I look? But I'm glad you took that step, because all that chatter would be still in your mind, that continuously you would have been continuing.
Exactly. Just going there and asking the question was the remedy, was the answer. Just asking the question. I already felt like, okay, this is gone.
100%.
And then it did not have importance anymore. But like also that was communicating non-verbal, just checking, kind of. I had the percent like almost like being in a race, like this end of the hour is the end of the race. Just silly, you're just there for yourself. But like at the beginning, I had that. But luckily, I then shared, and like that was gone. But that's still, it was interesting, because it was a moment for me where the presence of others made me kind of really see this thing inside me. That came up, that shock, that competition aspect. Without the others, I would have not had the opportunity to really deal with that.
Absolutely.
Aspect of my psychology or my character. So, having others there, I think it's a crucial part of the journey.
It's sort of how do I say, checkpoint that, okay, if he's doing, maybe I'll give my best. I'll at least push a little. Yeah, healthy competition. Nothing. I mean, it's human mind. Definitely, these thoughts would arise. And again, anisha, so you let them go, let them pass. But yeah,
so anicca is what?
Anicca is
just to explain to them.
It's
impermanence.
Impermanence, like the act of impermanence.
Absolutely. The understanding that everything comes and goes.
Yeah. So in life, everything is impermanent. Even your happiness, sadness, right? So it comes, it goes. And I was funny. I was saying. Simone and Atik also, that I'm in that phase of life where I'm trying to enjoy my happiness and sadness equally, just because I know that, okay, this would pass.
Exactly.
This would pass.
Exactly.
So yeah, even before joining the Vipassana thing, I was like trying to put that into practice. Yes, we are humans. Yeah, we are humans. We're not perfect, but it's a process.
But I find a lot of people ignorantly don't know that life is impermanent.
Yes.
Right? They think that, the most obvious thing, they think they'll buy, an expensive purse and it's theirs forever. That's an obvious, it's not going to be here forever. But even as Goenka was explaining, on a reality level, on an apparent level, everything does seem like matter. But on a reality level, everything is coming and going, right? The flame he was explaining is not actually one flame, it's one coming and one dying, one coming, but it's at such fast rapidity that, it seems like it's one.
The cells in our body constantly
absolutely
dying.
If I took a microscope, the best microscope in the world, and I looked into your body, I'd actually see space. It's just so, it's going so fast that it's creating one full matter. That, I find, is, as he said, the wisdom of the pain. Obviously is very obvious. Fine, I'm going to overlook this because it's not going to last. But just as dangerous is the good, as you explained. If I become elated in something, doesn't mean by understanding that it's impermanent, that I can't enjoy it. I'm with it. I'm experiencing its color and its depth. But when it goes away, I don't lose the balance of my mind. I understand that it is impermanent. And that I find that people don't focus on. You know, they want to just go into the elation so much that they don't realize that's just as much causing the misery.
Yeah.
Not understanding that one day it's going to go away.
Yeah, I like the way, just because you brought up Goenkaji, the way he explains things, so beautiful
I think
and
it's
funny.
It's a big part of why
And
this
Bro,
course
he's
is so amazing.
it's like your father, you know? Like, you feel so safe and comfortable. He's like, 3 days left. See, 7 days left.
I love the way, because when you said about what he said about
The flame.
Yeah, the flame. He also said
The electricity.
Goenka is taking a dip in the river. It's not the same Goenka.
Yeah.
Goenka just left, and I'm like, oh my god.
It's true, because it's a completely different body of water.
Yeah.
But to the naked eye, if we're not aware of impermanence, it's the same lake.
Yeah.
Completely different water molecules around.
Do you want to explain the story, or
Which one?
share the story, the lake thing?
Oh, that was it. It's just that if you're in it, you think you're surrounded by a certain body of water, you take a dip, when you come back out, it's a completely different one. 3 seconds later, that water's all the way there.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, in a river that's flowing.
Because
So
the river
that's
is
really
flowing,
clear
it's
in that.
stream.
Yeah, in that example.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
it
beautiful.
really is.
And every day, like with all the silence, like when Goenka speaks, Goenka, I don't know if the people listening to this will know, but like Goenka is the last, I guess, teacher.
He's the last teacher.
Vipassana.
His teachings have been following, and throughout there are about 200 centers overall the world, and his teachings are practiced. So
Yeah,
So, I mean,
it's just he gives like an hour, just to clarify, he gives like an hour of discourse at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Every day.
And that for me became really an anchor, like having that hour, and you
Looking
don't speak,
forward
but don't
to it.
listen
Yeah.
for the whole day. It sounded really like releasing a great TV show every night. I want this. Give me more.
I feel
I took my chair, I was getting comfortable.
I feel it's like one of the nicest podcast I'm listening to. It's like it's this guy started podcasting before,
And he was accurate also with his
Yes.
calls. He's like, don't tempt to open your eyes, and you see other people. Everyone's laughing like, yeah, that's
And
what
also,
I did.
yeah, when I was struggling with competition, the video after he talks about that.
Exactly.
Don't compete, don't look
He
at others.
literally talks about everything, all the questions running in my head.
He addresses
He
it.
addresses everything. I'm like,
Absolutely.
how come this guy knows every single thing that's going in my head right now?
No, it's so well designed. I mean,
Yeah.
the course, something that really struck me as excellent is really how the course has been optimized over the year. And I was reading the history of Vipassana a little bit, and really this short course format started, I think, in the 19th century from one of the first teachers, and then evolved. And then he started this 10-day thing, like 3 days Hanapana respiration, and then Vipassana. So, but like over the years, I can see that they distilled like just the best of the best of the best. And now it's kind of this excellent, outstanding course that is solid, and you go through that. You're challenged. Certain points you're given a bit of slack. You can relax, and everything is in sync with what these videos at the end of the day are telling you. Like it's so good, just for the sake of just as a learning device. It's, as a teacher, like I can say that is really, really, really well designed.
I think because of his experience, his practice, and the way he designed, he's traveled to so many different countries, established a center, so he knows much. And while he was doing these videos, also he knew what is going through a student's mind.
Yeah, a lot of experience.
So I had this experience where I, had these sensations, and I couldn't sleep the whole night. And then I went to the teacher next morning. I was like, should I go and see a manager? Should I go? It's an emergency because I cannot sleep. My heart is, like beating so faster. So like out of, like I was super. A bit like scared of what's happening. Then I'm like, okay, relax, maybe it'll pass. Next morning I went, and probably I slept for hardly an hour, or maybe max 2. I don't recall. Next day I feel so lighter, so fresh.
Wow.
Like I went back to the teacher and I asked, like, I couldn't sleep because I had these sensations. I wanted to come see you, and the manager was like a little scared. And he said, how do you feel right now? I'm like, good. Like, that's what matters. And then I told him about the sensation. He's like, lucky guy.
Wow.
So then he explained me how, once you're having this, probably if you have this tonight, do anapana
Exactly.
and they just fall asleep.
Exactly.
And the same evening, we had a discourse. And Goenkaji talked about the same thing.
The same exact.
I'm like, how does...
Oh yeah.
this-
When he's like, you have trouble sleeping.
Yeah, and how does this guy know everything? Like, it's so well designed
For sure.
course. Yeah.
It's an interesting point that you bring up because I found that the more I came back to Vipassana, there was kind of a meta realization where at first you go and you're dealing with the meditation itself and you're watching the sensations and your thoughts be chaotic, and the idea is to observe them objectively and allow them with an understanding of impermanence that they are going to kind of dissolve and lessen. But even outside the meditations, not just even in the hall and in your room, but you're walking and you're frustrated or you can't sleep.
Yeah.
Those also are tools to use as watching objectively. It's different platforms, but the same muscle is being exercised. The exercise of watch objectively. Understand that it's impermanent. If I can't sleep, fine.
Yeah.
I won't die. And ironically, it's
That's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said.
right.
You
If
won't
you
die.
try and sleep, if you really make the effort, you're not going to sleep.
Yeah.
It's really like an understanding of, okay, it is what it is. I'm accepting. This is something he repeats all the time. I'm accepting my current reality.
Yes.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
And I find even when you're walking, I saw people like get so frustrated, and you could see it in their faces so obviously.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, use this as a means to, watch and practice the muscle of non-reaction.
It's so funny that there's so many emotions, so much you want to talk to other person, but you just control and let the other person do it. So it's same like in life, even sometimes your parents, your friends try to help you and tell you, do this. Sometimes it's good, just take a step back, let them try, fall. I've told that in other podcasts. It's just it's same like life. Everything is connected to life and how probably you want to get better, because at the end of the day, you know your own path. I cannot guide you on this path. Even Goenkaji said, I could tell you this meditation is this, but if you're thinking that this would take you somewhere else, this might not be the thing. This is this,
Right.
and this is your path. You have to continue and explore.
Absolutely.
Maybe it'll take 80 years for someone. Maybe it takes 1 year, because the path you took might be different than the path the other person who's
Interesting.
still coming back every year, but not practicing, but
Absolutely.
maybe unfocused, trying to compare with others and everything. But one person just goes there, focuses, and does his duty. Does
Absolutely.
his job. Yeah.
It's interesting you talk about paths, because I've always had the question, like, how does one choose their specific path? I think that's a universal question, especially for people in their 20s,
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
And I heard someone online say, I can't tell you your truth, but I can point you towards it.
Towards it, yeah.
And in regards to meditation, that's what he was referring to, that, you try and decide, A, B, and that, and it's kind of like kind of like you trying to teach your class,
Yeah.
but there's just noise everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're not receiving what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what do? You need to turn the volume down so that the students can actually hear you speak. Same thing in the mind. To actually define your specific path, no one can tell you.
No one can tell you.
But what you can do is everyone can meditate, silence the mind,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, you and only you can see the clear paths with a clear mind. So I think it's a universal guidance to say yes, and I believe this. It's difficult to share and say that everyone must do this, but you know
Yeah.
what? I say it unapologetically. This is the exception. Everyone, like brushing their teeth, needs to meditate. They need to. Whether it's 10 minutes, fine. 5 minutes, 15, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like having a car without a brake.
You were talking about the car, like instead of dental flossing, this
Yeah,
is mental
mental
flossing.
flossing.
You gotta clean
Yeah,
your
you
mind.
I
gotta
love that.
clean, yeah.
And I think we're
So-
getting there as a people, but it's, a lot of individuals, when I suggest that, and just 5 minutes, it's like you can see how much they're avoiding, how much they're running away from just a moment of silence, and yet they'll claim that they're so happy, but like, okay, turn off the background TV, turn off the music that you're stimulating yourself with. And yeah.
One thing I wanted to say that really to this, and something you mentioned before, like the retreat is an ideal setting to really go straight at the essence of yourself and like whatever you're dealing with at this moment, because there's no bullshit around.
Exactly.
And so, but there's little things like, okay, like noises, like other people, like, or I don't know, I do I don't know, maybe something happens silly, like I open the cold water instead of the hot water and you get super pissed off, like little things. But then you really go at the core of the matter. Okay, why do I react so badly to this little thing? Yeah. So you're given, it's kind of being in this training, it's kind of being at a gym. You know, you train there, like, and it's an ideal environment for you to optimize training and to see. I don't know if, did you guys see Dragon Ball? I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball. To train, they go into this space that
Goku and Vegeta, they would go there.
10 minutes in the outside, and they're like it's 1 year, for example. But you have all the time to just, there's nothing there. Like, you can train for real.
Wow.
And yeah, it felt a little bit like that. Like you remove all the inessential, and you go to the core of whatever you're supposed to deal with for real in your life. Then it could take different forms back, you know, maybe in your job, in your family, whatever, and very particular forms that there have no meaning because everything is super simple there. But still, the same issues, the same deep issues will arise in that simplified framework, and you will have an opportunity to. You know, it's easier than to do something to train yourself in that framework because there's not much at stake.
Exactly.
Inside real life, at least it feels like there's much more at stakes if you fail or if
Such a good point. Yeah.
Or maybe if you do something wrong. But like there, you have more freedom to try out something and to deal with whatever.
Proper arena for sure. You know, it's because a lot of people just in relation to exactly what you said. A lot of people are like, okay, fine, you're trying to refine your mind, but why go 10 days? Why are you going to Vipassana to? The idea is exactly what you said. So if the notion is to refine the mind, quiet the noise, and learn how to extend your state of concentration, if I threw you out into the real world and I say, okay, don't react, it's so difficult considering the stimuli that are in the world. If I'm in a line of Starbucks and I need to get to work, like I'm not aware of, okay, just observe. Or if someone's yelling, so that's why you kind of go into this type of arena. It's like you can't study in a club. Ultimately, fine. If you like really focus, you can get through the page. But like, it's just not the environment to do it. So here's 10 days to actually practice it, and then because like there is this idea of, and I personally, absolutely no judgment by all means. It's actually called a fatalistic way of living, where you're just kind of like you go into that world and you see how peaceful it is, but you'll meditate on a mountain for 40 years and not actually share that and apply that to society. Again, everyone has their own perspective and way of going about it, but I see the benefit in learning what I can there. Not necessarily staying, because for example, my first one, I met this guy who was in his 60s, and he literally lives there. Like he went like 15 years ago, just fell in love with it, came back to society. I was like, man, why would I go here and when I can go? And he's just serves, which is a beautiful life. Yeah. But personally, in the way that I kind of want to conduct my life is, I'll go there as many times as I need to refine. But it's like a student studying in the library all the time, but never leaving the library with the knowledge and sharing it. To come back to society, learn how to apply it. And I find that's really only one of the few ways to do it. Because to go into society with...
It's like a real life school for you. Like you're learning the lessons there, coming back, integrating your life. Okay, I feel that I'm good now, but maybe I can improve. If you go back, it's like your bachelor's, master's, you're getting your degree over and over, and then you just get refined, and get back, put that into practice, and see how it
Exactly.
And since you're talking about the arena, the place, what a beautiful center. Like the retreat and the beautiful weather. Like, you know, the weather throughout 10 days, we had hailstorm, like we literally had showering, like we're meditating, like tak, 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 tak. Like, okay, what is this? And as soon as like, come on, see, like,
it's funny, I was meditating in my room,
Yeah.
and I had a neighbor, right? We're separated by these like pull sheets,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to meditate. It's like the one where you have the option to do in your room, or
Yeah.
and I hear, and I hear, I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm trying to meditate here. What are you doing? You playing football? And it starts getting so loud that I'm like, what's going on? I get up and I hear it throughout the hallway and we see outside. I think that was the same time as the tornado. Yeah.
And okay, I have this question. How did you guys feel, after you come back, or even during the retreat, your sensations or your senses, like, did you feel any change? Did it get amplified, enhanced? Looking at the nature, looking at colors, looking at sky, anything, could be anything, rocks, butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
There were fireflies.
Yeah, so we were chatting about that during lunch, and one of the things I noticed when I was back on Sunday was that the leaves seemed greener than usual. First of all, I was super happy. Never been so happy in my life. In Montreal, like just
in Montreal,
in Montreal too. Yeah. Just like doing simple things. Having a walk with my wife, and then having lunch, and then hanging
You
around.
feel happier.
But like everything
more
felt,
appreciative. And
everything felt so simple, so natural, so just flowing.
I felt
Life
the same,
was
like
flowing.
much more lighter. You're a lighter person. Like everything seems so light. Like everything's on a lighter note. If I just like
100%.
literally when we talk, take it on a lighter note, but you're actually taking it on a
100%,
lighter note.
100%.
Like everything doesn't matter. Even there's so much of noise. I still feel I can sit in the middle of the crowd and still be silent inside my head.
Yeah.
Like still learning though. I mean, obviously it's a process, but far better than I used to be before.
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
For
sure.
It was so much like few tiny things used to make you feel like tinglings and all.
Absolutely.
But I feel like it's okay now. It's like pass, let it pass. Anicca.
It's interesting. The first time, believe it or not, I was traumatized. Like I was 21. I didn't really know what I was going into.
How old are you now?
29. So
Okay.
8 years later. This was 2015. I think was my first time. 2014.
Nice.
And I remember like. I had just split with someone I was with, and it was right after, and like I had very little control over my mind, and so 90% of my meditations was just like, what's she doing back home? What's going on? And then these pictures and images, and it would just, and then my mind would be rolling 90% of the time. I remember coming back just really traumatized, but I saw slowly it integrate into my life. It was 4, 5, 6 months later where. Because the first 3-4 months, to be honest, I was just turned off by the trauma, and I knew meditation was still, part of my life, but I only saw it happen 5, 6, 7 months later. And then the more I started going, the more I started understanding how essential it was to living an effective life. But just something I really did realize is that, I saw for sure more green and but if I didn't continue the practice. If I didn't continue meditating, I went right back to where I was. If I didn't keep feeding the fire and meditate, over time, for sure 10 days plays an impact. So let's say we don't meditate for the next month, I think it'll still be with us. But eventually it's going to be almost like we're reacting. It's like, why am I reacting today? And it's like, oh yeah, meditation, that's what I'm not including in my life.
Going back to the basics again, learn it.
Practice, you could go to the gym for 4 weeks, see a full body change, but if you stop going to the gym, you're going to get back to your regular...
Makes sense. Yeah, we were talking, myself and Simone, actually, before entering, that, we had stronger sensations while we were at the retreat, and the sensations are still there, but it takes more time, because it's been a while. You used to practice it every day, like almost 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
8 to 12.
10.
10. Yeah, 10
10 and a half with that last half hour.
1.5. Yeah,
Wow.
it was just the discourse. Yeah, 10 and a
We
half.
did it a lot.
Yeah, 10 and a half
100
plus
hours,
1 hour
100
discourse.
hours,
Yeah. So it's a lot, and all of a sudden you come back to 1 hour.
To what?
To one hour.
Okay.
Hardly 1 hour. That too, like, and you feel your sensations are still there, but much lighter. It's like you have to focus it more to see, okay, I have this pulsation, I have this sensation. But
yeah, because Vipassana, we can say for the people maybe who don't know, but at the end of the day, the technique Vipassana is kind of you're scanning your body, feeling the body like part by part, over and over. And when you're also experienced, when you're during the retreat, it becomes easier to feel the whole body, but then when you're back, all of a sudden, I felt myself.
You have to scan.
Struggling. First of all, taking more time to get concentrated.
Yeah.
To get rid of all the
noises,
constant flow.
Takes like 10
to have the thought
minutes,
process like just a bit slower.
Yeah.
To have enough space to just start doing Vipassana.
Yeah.
And then many more areas are just harder to perceive, especially the first days. Like when I was back, like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, was really hard. Now I feel like it's coming back. Like maybe cultivating this habit, also changing the environment where I'm doing meditation, like had an impact. And now I'm getting used to the new environment, like this little corner of the house. And Goenka was saying that use the same space, because the more you're there, and you will create kind of a vibe of concentration there. I think it's true. Like when I approach that part of the house, I'm back to the state of mind. I say, okay, now I'm going to meditating for 1 hour, and then you get ready a bit earlier, and like I think maybe the mind gets used to that, and like
play such a role.
I think that's what they were saying, that even you'll feel so much energy in the room when you're meditating with other people, because that's everyone's energy that left in that particular room.
Oh, it's a real thing.
That's what you mentioned, that even you're free to go meditate back in your rooms, but the energy you'll feel here is different. That's what he used to mention in the discourse, that in the meditation hall there's so much of energy, like positive, if I have to say, like throughout, because everyone's doing that meditation, everyone's releasing those happy hormones, and then there's so much strong energy.
It's the reason behind communities and families. A collective prayer is that much more powerful than your own. It's you're using a combination of
and also, I mean, technically, Goenka was mentioned the three refuges. I think the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Sangha is
the community.
The community. So it's one of the three fundamental refuges you take during the retreat.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad you remember everything.
No, some of these things were similar, like when I was doing Zen meditation. I mean, Buddhism is Buddhism forever. The Four Noble Truths, all that is the same. So certain things were exactly the same, but there's different flavors. So that's why I remember.
Which I just want to mention, because you're talking on it, for those of you who haven't been to a Vipassana retreat. Yes, there are Buddhist philosophies, and he'll mention some Pali words, but it actually has nothing to do with rites, rituals, nothing. He'll mention it because that's his background, and you can't prevent him from sharing what he grew up in. But it's funny because I heard some individuals ask questions. Sometimes I would stay, and they would challenge the teacher in regards to things that were so irrelevant to the practice. They were like, I didn't believe, one guy was saying, I don't believe in the reincarnation of souls. Because Goenka was talking about how if you don't finish your work here, it's going to go into the next. And the teacher's like, you can still do your practice though. What does that have to do with observing?
The of the soup, right? With the
exactly.
Soup,
He said you could still, that doesn't impact you from observing your breathing and observing your sensations. So I think that a lot of people are afraid to go because yes, it is Buddhist inspired, but essentially it's using you're using your breath and your bodily sensations as a platform to enhance that muscle to react less and to observe objectively.
And he did mention many times that there's no religion involved. It's just yes, the inspiration is taken from Buddhism, but there's no religion involved and there's no scope for conversion. So you won't be converted. You're not actually converting your religion here, so it's nothing as such.
For sure.
For sure.
I mean, there's no talking about God. I mean, even Buddhism, I'm not sure it's can be classified as a religion technically. It's really, almost trying to be a science, of the mind and like mind and body and all that. But it's true. One of the really fascinating things of Vipassana is that It's really practical. It's really simple. We could talk about the technique in 2 minutes.
2 minutes, yeah.
It's not like nothing esoteric, like you're there doing something weird or like rituals, like, I don't know, 5-point steps, whatever. I mean, I think there is a strong spiritual aspect to it, but if you don't care about that, it will still have value as a practical training for the mind.
Absolutely.
So, which is, that's, I think, this purity of, and I think it's all of emphasis, like they wanted to, I mean, Gregor was claiming this kind of this tradition tried to preserve this, the purest technique since the Buddha when was discovered, and this purity of this type of practice is really, to me, very attractive. Like, there's nothing.
It's simple, universal.
Nothing fancy about it.
Nothing fancy.
At the beginning, I thought, so we're here just to do breathing and body scanning. I did that before, but
I'm here to light some candles. I'm here to do some rounds.
What's the big
I'll
deal?
tell you. I think I shared with you. So I had no idea what this is about. I go there and then first 3 days, okay, we're doing this anapana, breathe in, breathe out. Okay. 4th day, he says, we're introducing this Vipassana. I'm like, okay, we're just scanning.
What did we just do for the past 3 days?
And then, okay, I thought since they said 3 days, so I thought it would be divided in 3 days, 3 days, and 3 days. So different technique each 3 days. I'm like, okay, the first 3 days gone. Vipassana started, like 4th, 5th, and 6th. I'm like, okay, what's coming? What's next? And like, all these videos, just do this.
Yeah.
Consistently, patiently, and persistently.
Intelligently. We're live.
Sorry, there's a lot of inside jokes.
Exactly. They probably don't get it.
It's too fun for us.
Patiently, persistently.
So for people who do not know, it's the inside joke. Not even the inside joke. It's just like the way we were actually guided. So these were the guided meditations. So Goenkaji is not with us, but his teachings still remain. Right. So his recordings are helping us or helping people to guide through, and those act as a guiding process through the meditation. So all in his meditations, he tells, just do this simple thing. The technique, as we mentioned, it's a simple technique. You just scan your body, right? You just identify where you have problems or what's not. You just scan your body, and that you do consistently, patiently, very patiently, because you don't have to rush things, and not identify things happy or sad and then classify them as, okay, this brings me pleasure, but this I don't like it. So you cannot, again, that's what he says, that you shouldn't be classifying these sensations as happy or sad or hatred, craving, aversion,
craving,
and then he says, do it diligently, keep on doing it. You're bound to be successful.
Yeah, this big concept of equanimity, observing everything. Oh, the big concept, of course, we're equanimity and impermanence, of course. But this equanimity, that's like, in how I think about that is like there is craving, like this pleasant sensation, so I want more of that, greedy, and then I'm craving, or unpleasant sensation, I don't want that, that's aversion. And then right in the middle, that is equanimity, we're just happy enough with whatever it is.
Whatever you have.
And that's
the understanding that it's impermanent. Because it's funny you say that. I day 3 or 2, I was sitting like cross-legged, and my right kneecap was pulsing, like burning, bro. Yeah. And then you see someone come in with a backrest, and you're like, your mind starts rolling. Oh, you know what? Maybe I need a backrest. I went to the teacher, and he's like, no, I've seen you before. Go through this hurdle.
Yeah, he told me the same thing.
You know, and I watched and observed it. I swear on day 4 went away. But that's the idea. Is this idea of and that's really the. And I love again how he keeps it simple. The dichotomy between aversion and craving. So again, aversion, it's so obvious. There's a pain. We don't want it. If you resist it, creates more suffering. But even like you said, you're doing 5-10 minutes of good meditation. You have this pleasant elation. Now it goes away because everything is impermanent. Now what are we exercising? We're craving. We're craving. Oh, I want it back. That also creates misery. So as you said, this equanimity of not reacting to the bad, not reacting to the good. The misunderstanding for people who hear this, and I hear this all the time, oh, but you lose your joie de vivre, you lose your juice,
purpose of life. Yeah,
right.
But
so not true.
So also something in the background, we're supposed to smile, you know, not to be sad.
I was coming back to that.
So there was this background smile about everything.
I did observe how it actually makes a difference.
What?
It did, like when you smile.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one session where I stayed longer than the ashtanas, like 1 hour, because I had those sensations, I was just smiling at it. And I'm still
pleasant
there.
or unpleasant?
I had no idea. It was painful, but I'm just smiling at it. So whatever it is, like, you know,
Absolutely.
aversion, craving, and I probably left both, and I was in that equanimity, zone of equanimity, only once. It just happened in these 10 days only once.
That's amazing. He says
Tiny little thing. But, you know, I was there, and even across that 1 hour, everyone went for a break, came back, and I'm still there. And I'm now like, okay, let's move.
Wow.
So it was beautiful, and that's like, I especially want to thank the teacher for answering our questions, and the way he talked about smile, the way he talked about your back rest. I went to him for the back rest. He said, you are young, you just go. You're young.
He said, you look healthy.
You look healthy. It's okay, your body will get it up.
Yeah.
And literally, the body gets adapted. And a lot of people might have noticed, initially everyone with these pillows, these many pillows, and it came.
Yeah, it diminished.
It diminished, and
That's
like
funny.
There
last
was
day,
another communication that was
Yes.
going on. The number of pillows in the shelf.
in the shelf.
It's like level 1, level 2.
At the beginning,
Wow.
no one was using pillows. Then they disappeared. Like,
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that
then they were
is
back.
like actual progress. Like once you came in, you had so much of comfort. You were looking for comfort. That I
Absolutely.
need this much pillow.
Absolutely.
And also one more thing. I mean, probably I wanted to say this because you're not looking for. Maybe you're not looking for comfort, but you had the self-doubt that okay, maybe I cannot do this 1 hour. I cannot sit. So just not to break the 1 hour, I want this. But
Absolutely.
you're not trusting yourself at that point. But as the days pass, and then you believe in yourself, you start believing, you start practicing, you see that I don't need this. I think same with life. You probably crave for I need this luxury, I need this luxury, but at the end of the day, you just happy and simple,
Absolutely. We're
But-
products of our habits, and I find it's just that same muscle. Everything is a reflection of itself. It's the same message telling us within all different areas of life.
Yeah.
And this was me running, quote unquote, running away from my
Yeah.
discomfort
Yeah.
on
More.
this plane, right? And he's like, bro, just go over
Just
it.
go over it.
And that confidence, where after I saw it disappear, I'm like, wow. It's for me like it's that rep. I just practiced that muscle of facing something that's discomfort,
Yeah.
and instead of running away, which 99% of the time I do, I went through it.
Yeah.
Now I saw I did it on this realm, in this arena. Now I can go out into the world and kind of
Yeah.
refine that practice. But I found that listening to his questions, because I kept hearing him repeat this specific thing, just in regards to what you said. Just again, just as a side note, this is the first time I really listened to everyone's questions. Of the 5 times that I went, I found that it enhanced my experience.
It really helps. It really helps.
Wow, from here to
It
here.
helps, yeah.
But he kept having individuals like you and I approach him for that. And he said one thing. He's like, because you were talking about smiling and how much that helped. He said, and I know this is going to be etched in my mind because I just kept hearing it. He said, take life seriously, but don't take yourself seriously.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And it's that perfect balance of like, okay, doesn't mean I sit on the couch and eat a sandwich. I take life seriously. I go try and create and manifest the best thing that I can. But at the same time, don't take yourself seriously. Understand that, fine. If shit hits the fan one day, relax. You're still alive. You still have clothes on your back. You still have a roof over your head. You still have your health. You're good. And I find that really, at least this year and moving forward.
Yeah, the
hopefully that sticks
assistant
with me.
teacher Remy
It was like really.
But he
It was
was
great because
amazing.
again, it was keeping it simple.
Simple.
But
No.
practical too, I found.
Simple and practical.
Exactly,
yeah.
very
Simple,
practical. No,
I mean, not pushing around that, oh, you do this, and then talking so high of something and, bringing you down. No, it's like simple thing, keeping it
100%.
simple, explaining all your doubts,
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
yeah, no, he played a great role. I mean, having him there also was important. I didn't listen to so many questions because I was in the back, and then at the break I would go out the hall. But Yeah, I agree. When I was in line and listened to the others' answers, that could be useful.
Only because, honestly, all their questions were my questions. I was like, I can't approach him a million times with all these questions. And I found like, whoa, he's asking my question. So I started sitting and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's...
and you as an old student, you were sitting, I guess, pretty...
Yeah,
I don't remember where you were.
From what I realized is the older students, they keep pushing to the front. So if I was the teacher, I was to my left.
You're closer to the teacher.
Yeah, facing the teacher, I was to his right.
Yeah.
Sorry, to his left. So, but then I had the assistant teacher right in front of me, which personally I found amazing because I almost kind of felt like I was being watched.
Yeah.
You know, like he was so close. Sometimes if you realized he opened his eyes to like check, kind of like a father making sure his children are safe, and coincidentally, almost like 5 times throughout the whole 10 days, I opened my eyes the same time he opened. And we blocked each other at the end. I was like, damn, he saw me. But I felt like I was being watched, so I appreciated being close to them. Yeah, physically close to them.
Okay, so we talked so much and so many different things about the food. Do you guys want to talk about the food?
I loved it. I mean, I'm not vegetarian. I don't have any dietary restriction or regime, but there's a strict vegetarian regime there. There's only breakfast and lunch, no dinner, just a light snack like with some fruit.
How did you feel the first 2 days?
Surprisingly, I didn't miss food at all.
Really?
Like, yeah, starting from the first days.
Nice. I skipped meals. I skipped either the evening's fruit or the morning breakfast. But I had the lunch constant. But yeah, I skipped.
Surprisingly, that was easy.
Yeah.
I was visualizing a steak being cut, bro, in my sleep, bro. The juice like coming down.
Craving.
Gosh, bro.
Craving 101.
My older brother, actually meditated. He fasts throughout. He does 8 to 10 days of fasting throughout that.
Wow.
He's a special kid, special kid. But he was explaining like it enhanced his meditations. Yeah. Obviously, he was drinking as much water as he can, and he's a diabetic on top of that.
So I'll tell you the first day, just because our mind is trained that way, or it automatically comes naturally to us that there won't be food, eat. There won't be food. So like.
Yeah.
It's not just me, I saw people filling their plates.
Yeah, I saw ridiculous things.
And I had 3 plates.
Yeah, and then you realize by the day you're not able to focus, you're not able to concentrate.
You feel heavy, you feel...
And then
some people eat less and less.
The same evening, Goenkaji talked about this,
Yeah.
Funnily, like, it's so funny, and he talks about the same thing that I could see a lot of people.
We don't have dinner here, so don't go around a breakfast with 3 plates.
So the way he explains again beautifully, and he knows everything. So yeah, the next day again I started to reduce. I mean, I used to do that intermittent fasting even before here. So, but my time was different. So I used to start at like my first meal at 4 p.m. And try to finish at 11 or 10. So 6 hours of eating window. But there, it's the same, but opposite. And I'm not used to eating so early, like 6:30 a.m. And then your last meal is like 12. That's it. So yeah, I'm not used to, but it was a change for my body.
I think the food is really good there.
It was amazing.
Delicious,
really
tasty,
really good.
And they cook for 150 people or whatever.
Yeah, and super healthy, healthy food.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like in LA, it's all the same menu throughout all different. It's the same menu. You're gonna eat the same thing, roughly.
Roughly, yeah.
From what I realized, this fast experience, roughly 70-80%. Because on day 10, my first 4 times, they served veggie burgers and fries. And on day 10, when I tell you from day 7, I was just envisioning this. I'm like, I can't wait till day 10. These burgers and they served this. What was like a salsa faida. I was like, okay.
There's still
no craving. Watch. Like it was such a hype, for 3 days that that was just one thing about the food.
But I realized last 3 days were again getting a bit, how do I say, noisy in my head. Like, just because you're waiting to go back, you've learned so much, you have had so much of experience, and now you're planning to go and integrate back. okay, in my head is like, how do I integrate this back? You know, how do I...
What do I tell people?
What do I tell people? How do I, you know, for me, as he mentioned, you know, this is such a good thing. You would want to help others. So for me, mine's like, how do I, like, who needs this the most? For me, my sister, my mother, and like who else?
I started thinking about
so much. And I started envisioning, I'm like, what do I say? How do I
Yeah.
put this in a 2-minute like presentation?
And I'm like, that's why I'm like, would they even believe what I have to say? Like, you know, because this is my journey, this is my experience. Maybe their experience would be different, but would they even believe if I have to say that, okay, you know, okay, trust me, for me, I had so many body pains and everything. I had a dislocated shoulder since like the last 10 years. I visited all physiotherapists, chiropractors and everything. And you remember the night I didn't sleep I was talking about? I had like rushing vibrations, like something drilling here as if someone's working on it.
Yeah.
Next morning, everything's gone and I don't literally have that pain. I've been carrying since 10 years.
Stop. Since Vipassana, you have not felt...
I swear. On that particular day and since then.
Wow.
I'm like, this is magic. Maybe it didn't do anything else for me.
I wonder what's the science behind that even.
And I was like, this is done.
The way Goenka started was because of this chronic headache, right? And then as a byproduct, all these psychosomatic things could go away because you work on purifying the mind.
Yeah.
But I think that these are a byproduct. They're not the goal. You don't go there to heal.
Yeah.
But like as a byproduct.
So I think again, for me, it was a benefit because I was not looking to heal. I had no idea this would do this way. I was just there to experience it because I've heard and okay, what is this about? Let's say I've never done meditation. I'll just go explore meditation. And I have no idea that this could do this to me. And it's like, on the 4th day, 5th day, I'm like, you know, you remember I went to the teacher, I was talking and he said, your body is healing. So the first, when I was doing Anapana, I was just also trying to do that Ashtana, even though it was not introduced to us. I was like, okay, let's try this. And I was shivering, I was shaking, and I felt like puking. So I told the teacher and he said, your body is healing. And your body wants to get rid of everything that's in there. And on the 5th day, I was like, if nothing happens hereafter, I'm still happy because this is something I've been carrying since the last 10 years. And it's all gone without doing anything. Like,
no more
beautiful.
physios, no more...
Nothing. I'm not expecting anything. You know, I have no expectations of anything yet, like, to come. So I was super happy.
That's amazing. It really is.
So I'm just wondering, as a last closing note, maybe, if in case, unless you guys have something to add, do you have anything to share?
Just kind of a last thing, because this is something, you know, I've addressed in my journey, where, like you said, you know, it's when you said, oh, you felt like puking, you felt like, a lot of people immediately will go to the place like, wow, you're causing yourself pain. It's a masochistic
Just take a step back and start going forward. The
truth is like, that's not pain. Pain is if, you know, I said it in one of my videos, pain is if I cut off your fingers and if I put salt on it and then put, like, I like going to the extreme examples because it drives the point home. That's pain. Pain is not a sore back, an ailing, you know, like those are things that are pure representations of the discomfort that we continuously run away. So whether you join Vipassana or not, like the whole idea here in a nutshell is using meditation, which is the purest form of self-introspection, as a platform, as an arena to, number one, enhance your muscle of equanimity. Number two, learn how to maintain equanimity and recognize whether you're craving or pushing something away, understanding that everything is impermanent, and just enhancing that muscle, right? If you're focused, you're going to be able to absorb all of the relevant data and information in a situation where you need to rectify and fix it. And that requires present moment awareness. It requires you going into meditation and facing those things that are uncomfortable. And I say uncomfortable, not pain, because those are two different things.
Obviously, Even in life, I mean, there are things that are uncomfortable and then we just run away from it. Because we feel like, oh, it's uncomfortable. Why do I want uncomfortable experiences? And we only run after the comfortable, the
or
pleasure.
stuff that is very comfortable. We want that all the time, more and more.
There's no growth there. You know,
Yeah,
a diamond is formed so beautifully through billions of years of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, that really is the prime example that I always hold. It's like beauty comes with effort and challenge and resistance, and that's, I think, you know, one of the things that a lot of people face and run away with meditation. They do 3 days and like, oh, it's not for me.
Yeah.
How many times I've heard that? It's not for me. Well, you can't just all of a sudden start running to go to a marathon, and 3-4 days when your body's sore, you say, oh, it's not for me. Like, no, there's a process of breaking down the old habit patterns, the old you, to recreate the new beautiful you that you are trying to become.
Yes, the beautiful way of seeing this is nothing but relearning or letting your mind relearn these patterns, the old patterns, and just connect to yourself.
That's it.
And for people who are like, if I have to say, you know, the technological people, you know, people who do not probably understand this language, it's a simple way. Myself and Simone were talking the other day. It's like lines of code. You just scan through lines of code, and you see that, okay, this is broken here. You go fix it.
Wow.
And then you
It's like debugging your code.
Like code, like 0, 1.
It's like, it's like the lines of codes, like, you know, starts.
Oh, code.
Codes, like the coding.
Yeah, COD.
It's like, so it's
not
like
0, 1. These would be the bits, but really like
the lines of
programming
code, like
language.
programming language. You know, programming language is like line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have 10 lines of code, let's say, and there's a problem in line 5. So your body tells you that, okay, there's a
Interesting.
It's telling you, there's a problem in this line.
scan that, there's a problem, you go fix it, just observe it.
Powerful.
It's
metaphor.
done, and then you rescan again, and then you go again.
Beautiful.
So that's like it's like, again, these terminology, mental flossing, and
I like
using
copyright that, make merch.
We could do t-shirts with it.
two t-shirts.
It's
Yeah.
like mental flossing.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So,
that.
all in all, again, thank you for this wonderful
Bless.
experience and sharing your
Thank you for having me.
experiences. Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
truly
one
my
last thing
pleasure.
maybe to say, you know, as a final remark, you
Yes.
also do meet great people, so that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
As a side benefit, it's not only a great
Absolutely.
technique,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's full of interesting people there. Very different. Like I've seen everything from teachers
Whole spectrum.
to
It's so
spectrum.
funny.
spectrum,
And-
like real estate
Yeah,
people
yeah,
or
yeah.
artists and or people with different beliefs and with different kind of adventures or seeking different things in life.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting, but everyone there is, I think, looking to go a bit deeper. You know, just
So-
not just staying at the surface.
So one thing I always say that around these experiences, you meet so many beautiful souls, so many beautiful people, because these people are looking for answers and they know how hard it has been.
Yeah.
And you know, they've lost a bit of themselves and a lot about, you know, whatever in their life. And now, if they do not have anything else to lose, the only thing they have is nothing but to accept. So there's so much of acceptance, so much of love, and
We all kind of
with-
shed down our walls. There.
yes,
Beautiful.
it's like the walls come down and then you're open. Everything is like a big family, and it's so beautiful to see
really is.
everyone. You know, even for us, we're served by people. You know, there's no money again. There's no money involved in all. It's all free.
Yeah.
And the
That's
food is
greatest
free.
part about it.
Yeah,
The
the
food is-
donation.
yeah.
I mean, whatever you feel comfortable giving.
And it's clean also. You know, I mean, it's a
It's-
joke, but
it's-
not a joke not at the same time. Like, it's super clean. You
Super
wonder
clean,
why.
yeah.
So much time to clean. Everyone's like volunteering. You're
So-
meditating for 9 days. You see a speck of dirt.
We
It's
have
like
so many volunteers served. You know,
Yeah, that too.
their heart out, and you know, to make to prep, to make the food, to clean the place. Even for us, like let's say we finished our center or our retreat, we clean for others. So it's just the natural tendency of when you care.
Yeah, to give
You
this
know,
as
to
a
give
gift.
it as a
Give
gift
to the
yeah.
next person.
And because
Beautiful.
and that's a chain that follows. Like you did it, and
Yeah.
now someone else comes and they do it. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like a
So
chain.
before leaving, my mom was asking, "Oh, is that a cult? Are you entering?" no, mom, this is not a cult.
I just started answering yes. Like, you know what? Like they're sad. They want to hear that. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of a cult.
So-
Get ready.
So on the last closing note, you know, to just put everything in a perspective for people who are trying to experience this or planning to experience this, it's a beautiful journey, and it's
not an easy one, but it's a beautiful one.
Not an easy one. Yes, I mean, again, it's a journey. Everyone would have their own path and own comfort. Again, depends on what state you are in right now.
Yeah.
There's a nice saying that if you're much more devastated, you are, at the verge of losing everything or have lost everything, you could go any extreme to come out of that
absolutely
black hole. So again, for that people, I really hope this would help and this would serve you really well. And I'm really thankful for you both. And
thank you very
and
much.
It's such a nice connection. Again, I feel the energy, the vibrations, and the experience. It's super nice. Yeah, a lot of fun. So thanks again.
Thank you, bro.
Great stuff.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.